The smartest leaders have mastered these 6 core skills from Michael Watkins at Big Think. Let's get into the video.
I'm often asked, are great strategic thinkers born or are they made? And my answer is always yes.
Starting off strong with a not yes or no question and then just saying yes. Classic.
It's like so many important and valuable human capabilities, a mixture of nature and nurture and experience.
It's all about the balance in all parts of life.
You're not going to become a world-class marathoner if you don't have the right physiology, the right muscles, the right lungs, but you still need to train very hard. And it's very similar with strategic thinking. You certainly are born with an endowment. Some people are naturally better at it than others, but there's so much you can do to develop yourself. And I always tell people, don't worry about the endowment. Focus on the improvement, because my research shows definitively that you can get much better at being an effective strategic thinker.
There's this Japanese word, kaizen, which means constant improvement. I think Michael would love this term.
I'm Michael Watkins. I'm a professor of leadership and organizational change at the IMD Business School in Lausanne, Switzerland. My book is The 6 Disciplines of Strategic Thinking.
Welcome to the cult, Michael. How can you help us think strategically?
Strategic thinking has always been a critical skill at the top. Leaders must be able to recognize emerging challenges and opportunities, establish the right priorities to focus their organizations, and critically mobilize their people to do what's necessary to adapt to the many changes that are going on today. In the research I did on strategic thinking, I identified 6 key mental disciplines that underlie your ability to recognize, prioritize, and mobilize.
It sounds like strategic thinking is a great tool that can be used to help us learn to be better leaders. Let's see what these 6 key points are.
Pattern recognition is a foundational discipline of strategic thinking. The ability to find the signal, the important information in what can be a sea of noise. Not just absorbing what's happening, but thinking about why, thinking about connection. When grandmasters look at a chessboard, they don't just see pieces, they don't just see the layout of the board, they see the most important patterns that exist in that configuration. They see opportunity, they see concentrations of power, they see potential vulnerabilities.
So it's not just about seeing the patterns, it's discerning why the patterns are actually important. And once we figure out why the patterns are important, discerning how we can implement them to best suit our strategy.
At the heart of your ability as a leader to navigate complexity is the discipline of systems analysis. It's absolutely essential, of course, that systems models capture the most important features and dynamics of the system that you're talking about. But given the very, very high levels of complexity today, no human being, and indeed, so far, no computer, is able to flawlessly model the entire set of variables and interactions that constitute a complicated system. One example I use is climate, where today we have very good models of climate, but they're absolutely simplifications of reality. They model large chunks of the atmosphere, for example, in ways that are really kind of crude almost. But they do capture the most important features of the overall climate system in a way that lets you make good predictions.
System analysis and pattern recognition go hand in hand. Once you can create the analysis of the system, in order to recognize what the most important features are, you need pattern recognition. You need the discernment to realize what's of importance and what's not of importance. I think AI will definitely help us with system analysis and even pattern recognition, but we just have to discern what the important patterns are for the systems to follow. Creating the system and then finding the patterns within is going to be important in our future.
As you focus on the discipline of mental agility, it's important to understand this idea of level shifting. There's a CEO I work with who describes this as cloud to ground thinking. The ability to move from a high level perspective to be in the clouds, to see the big picture of what's going on, but also to drill down into the detail when necessary. The great strategic thinkers I know are able to move between those levels of analysis and do so fluidly and also intentionally.
Mental agility is super important. I think of it in terms of seed to source. I'm a gardener, so most of my analogies are in that context. So you start out with a seed underground and it sprouts up into a plant. And then that plant grows into something like a fruit tree or a vegetable plant. And then you harvest that fruit or vegetable and then it goes to the source. So seed to source, low level to high level thinking. And to be able to go in between those stages from low to high is an asset to any person that can do that.
Structured problem solving is what you do with teams to help them engage in rigorous processes of framing and solving the most consequential problems that the organization faces. The structured part is really essential because it ensures that you're doing a good job of truly solving the right problem. That's the framing part. And then generating and testing the right options so that you end up with a robust solution. There can be many stakeholders involved that have an interest in what happens. And so it's essential, therefore, to establish a process that moves people through that, framing and solving of problems such that at the end of the process, they're in alignment, if not enthusiastic, about what happens going forward.
Mental agility and structured problem solving go hand in hand. You need to be able to see each level, but you need to identify the problems at each level that you can structurally move through with a team, with yourself, or in conjunction with a team and yourself to overcome those problems. One problem into the next and overcoming them eventually leads you from seed to source, from low level to high level. Being able to identify those problems at each level is an important skill to have.
At its core, visioning is about identifying the future to which you are trying to move your organization, a compelling portrait of where we are going to go together and why we should feel excited about getting there. There's a core tension you need to manage between ambition and achievability. Err too far on the side of ambition, you're creating something that's unrealistic, people won't feel like they can really accomplish, and ultimately does exactly what you're trying not to do, which is to demotivate people. Err too far on the side of achievability, it's too easy, it's not ambitious enough, it's not exciting for people, it doesn't really fundamentally motivate them.
This is the highest level of the pyramid. You have to have a goal that's achievable, but also pushes people past their limits. In order for people to grow, it's really good to push them, even yourself. Strive and make better progressions helps everybody in the ecosystem. Like they always say, pressure makes diamonds. In order for growth, you need a little bit of pressure. You need a little bit of that goal oriented thinking to help you strive for more.
And finally, politics is an essential part of every human organization. And there's simply no avoiding it. There are certain tactics that you can use that will help you influence people. A classic example of this is what's known as sequencing strategy. This is really about being thoughtful about the order in which you communicate with people and how you engage in order to build momentum in the directions you want the organization to go.
Like The Laws of Power or The Art of War by Sun Tzu.
I'm going to talk first to Christian, and then I'm going to talk to Stephanie. And if I have Christian and Stephanie on board, then getting Robert on board is going to be easier. And I need to be careful in the process not to overplay things in a way that causes Trudy to feel threatened by what I'm trying to do and start to do things to mobilize potential opposition.
Being aware of each individual person and their role in the organization can help you to move along your intended goals. Being people oriented can help you strive faster towards your goals because at the end of the day, all organizations are just an organization of people.
Just think about this process of moving people step by step to a place that they wouldn't have gone in a single leap.
The mountain is conquered step by step.
The people making the decisions about leaders' futures are more and more weighting the importance of strategic thinking capability in their decisions about whether you will advance or not. And this just amplifies the importance of focusing as much as possible on building your strategic thinking capability. It really is the fast track to the top.
Combining these 6 disciplines of pattern recognition, system analysis, mental agility, structured problem solving, visioning, and political savviness is going to help you in strategic thinking. Strategic thinking is the way that you become the leader that you want to be, you becoming your best self. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.